What was that?
Don't know.
What happened? I heard a noise.
Oh, what?
Something's come through the fence. Through the fence?
I can't see anything.
Yeah, neither can I.
What's going on?
Shepard was just next to me and something took her.
Shepard!
Welcome to Kermode Uncut. If you're a regular listener to or viewer of the Radio 5 Live film show I do with Simon Mayo, you'll know that on Friday we reviewed Annihilation, the new film by Alex Garland. It's a science fiction film. I think it's really interesting. It's got some great ideas, some really, really good writing, some interesting visuals and a brilliant cast. And we reviewed it, and this was a bit of a sort of change for us because it's not a film that was being cinematically, theatrically released in the UK. It was theatrically released in America, but in other territories it went straight to Netflix. And for a long time we've been thinking about whether or not we should review films that are available through streaming or whether we should concentrate on films that are out in the cinema, because many theatrical releases have a tiny theatrical release, like maybe 1 or 2 screens. So is there really any difference? Well, recently Netflix have been behind a bunch of interesting titles. They backed Okja, which was the Bong Joon-ho movie that John Ronson did work on the screenplay for, and I thought it was a terrific film. And I said when I was reviewing it, who else other than Netflix would have backed this film? I mean, a film about a genetically engineered pig and its friendship with a young girl. Who else would have got behind that and given it the backing it needed? Then, of course, we had the Cloverfield Paradox. I mean, that was a total mess, but it went out on Netflix. It was suddenly announced this big release. You could see why that didn't get into cinemas, because frankly, it was a load of old nonsense. But there was Duncan Jones's Mute. Now, I know that Mute divided people. I know some people loved it, some people hated it. I was kind of swithering between the two. The first time I saw it, I didn't like it so much. Second time I saw much more in it. But once again, who but Netflix would have allowed Duncan Jones to make a movie as strange, as weird, as uncategorizable as Mute? Now, in the case of Annihilation, it's a big release from an important filmmaker and everyone is going to see it on Netflix. And the fact of the matter is it's received very good reviews, and rightly so. It's been reviewed in some mainstream papers. My colleague Simran Hans, for example, reviewed it in The Observer last week. And we reviewed it on the Radio 5 Live show, and we think this is probably going to be the future, keeping up with stuff that is, as we are calling it, the cream of the stream. But what do you think? Do you think a film review show should only concentrate on theatrical releases? Do you think there is any longer any difference between a theatrical release and a streaming release? Should we now be completely open to any form of release, whether it's in a cinema or in the home? And if that's the case, where do you draw the line between what's a film and what's a series? Bearing in mind that Twin Peaks: The Return was voted one of the best movies of the year by Sight and Sound magazine. What do you think? Is it cinema or home viewing? Is there a difference anymore? Or is it just one big united future? Let me know. Oh, and do watch Annihilation, it's terrific.
It's destroying everything.
It's not destroying. It's making something new.